And we are live. It's Nick and Chris, the original dynamic duo here on the Post Fight podcast on what is a glorious Saturday morning in Hong Kong. We are here to recap and react to One Championship 158 last night's show from Singapore Indoor Stadium. Also, a big bit of news was dropped during that show. Demetrious Johnson is going to rematch Adriano Moraes for the flyweight MMA title in August 26th. One Championship's first card on Amazon Prime Video live in US prime time. First of all, Chris, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm absolutely fantastic. My life in Hong Kong is finally complete. I have one of my three musketeers back in Nicholas Atkins, so there's not
Who's the
much
other
better.
musketeer?
Andy and Heinrich, they're my three little
Oh
musketeers. I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm
okay.
more like the king of France. I'm kind of above you. Yeah,
Fair enough.
oh,
I
I
mean,
could be D'Artagnan.
geographically,
Yeah,
you are geographically above me. I think you're
yes.
located in a higher ground. Um, okay, yeah. Let's be honest, straight off the bat, it wasn't the best show I've ever seen from One Championship, and on paper, I was worried it wouldn't deliver too much, and I think it's fair to say it didn't deliver the way that they have delivered with pretty much every show this year. They've had a very strong run of really good cards, I think, from late last year, Chris, right up until this one. Just didn't do it for me. Didn't help that the Joshua Pacquiao and Jared Brooks main event fell through late doors, and then didn't help. We had a bunch of decisions that just weren't very exciting fights. And like you mentioned, Chris, I think there's no female fights on the card. It was just missing a lot, wasn't it?
Oh, 100%, man. This card was missing quality. It was missing quality matchups. And not even just that. I thought there was some poor refereeing, some early stoppages. I thought there was at least two or three decisions that I really don't agree with, or that was somewhat contentious. I think we had three split decisions. Some of the fights, though, were absolutely fantastic. I mean, Sequan and Andrade, it's something I've dreamed about all year. That was a great fight. The fact that we had two finishes that went via liver punch and liver kick. So there were some highlights to the card, but yeah, it did lack a little bit. It felt kind of like the pandemic days where it was six fight cards. It felt like they put two of those together, but there still wasn't really a big name driver in the whole card. We never really got a title fight. I mean, you can keep saying that Tuan Chai over and over again is a one in a million or a living day legend, but I mean, most of these guys who are fighting at the top end are. And I think as well, One has done so well to build all its female rosters and to not showcase any female fighters on this card. Sorry, we had one, right? We had Jenilyn Olsen versus
Yeah, I kept
Meza
forgetting
Barber.
that.
Yeah, at the very beginning. But
But that was on
usually,
the lead card, right? So I
yeah,
think it was the second
you,
fight of the night.
usually you have a bit more female representation than this in one championship. Yeah, a pretty good show, but to me, it's not what one championship really does. They like to do these big events, these big stacked events. Um, generally, you have one or two champions, because it's not just an MMA organization. We also have kickboxing and Muay Thai champions, so it's a bit of a shame they couldn't throw anyone on. And then my other negative about it is that we're kind of having an off season again with one championship, with 7 weeks off. It is a bit bizarre, right? Because the last few months they've really built up a good head of steam. Had fighters on Ariel Hawani, mentions on Morning Combat, DC, and all these other great podcasters out there. So for the first time, I was feeling that they were building up this big chunk of steam behind them. And then to have a 7 week layoff, to me, it's a little bit too long.
Yes, they seem to be losing some of that momentum they gained from 1X, where we had the fans back in the stadium, and now we followed up with not one, not two, but three empty stadium shows. Just feels a little flat. It's 2022. The world is moving on from COVID. Singapore is moving on from COVID. Fans are allowed back in arenas. They're still opting not to do it. If they, I don't know what the reason is really, but why not run a TV studio or something like that? If you're not going to get something like the UFC Apex, which is a smaller, more intimate stage, and then you can have still the noise that is made by corners and people like that does create a little bit of atmosphere. Just seems so empty hearing the voices echo around this gigantic indoor arena, right?
And you know what? It's also, to me, I think it's a little bit of a bad look for one, because we've had this now, two empty arenas in a row. We know on Reddit and Twitter what people are like with their memes, and people are
Yeah.
going to meme this in comparison with what happens next week. There's
Yep.
going to be
I'm with
memes
you.
like One Championship claims to be the biggest MMA organization in the world, and they're emptying their hometown. And a week later, the UFC is going to have. I think that they're sold out now, right? Or close to a sellout.
I don't know the exact number. I think from looking at Ticketmaster, it looked like it was doing very well and close to sellout. So it's not going to look good whatever happens for one. But I mean, let's just talk about that big news then quickly, and then we can go into the card. Demetrious Johnson and Adriano Moraes rematch. They announced it during the show. I was a little surprised they announced it, Chris, during this card
Yeah.
because wouldn't you save it for a bigger? I guess they don't have another show to announce it on, but the show itself last night wasn't causing much buzz, and then you make that big announcement during that show, kind of dampens the announcement, doesn't it? But
Yeah, I think
hey
if that
ho,
would have been announced just prior to like Pacquiao versus Jared Brooks, I think
yeah.
that would have got it done. I think maybe they wanted to do it. It was just before the Andrade fight, so I don't know if they were trying to link in with the maybe like a little bit the Brazilian audience with Marias and Andrade and Kwan have fairly big names for the organization. But yeah, it was a little bit of a damp squib, as they call it.
Yep, Ariel Hawani broke the news. My nemesis in
Yeah.
one championship circles, getting the big exclusive. It's going to be on the first card in Amazon Prime, as we said before. So that's going to be in US Prime time. So it will be filmed or taped, whatever. It's going to be live, but it'll
Well,
be
it's
in the morning in Singapore, right? August 27th.
160 and 161 are going to be back to back, right?
This is a rumor. I don't know who
Yeah.
started it, but I, if that's the case, then Chris, it's going to be there'll be back to back cards, but they will be on different days because this
Yes.
this one is in the morning on Saturday in Singapore. So are they going to run one on Friday night then in Singapore as well?
I don't know. I thought it might be the like Friday night and then late night, but I'm not sure about that. Because
Well,
the card will be Saturday morning, Singapore time, right? So it'll be Friday
yeah,
night in so I think they might have another show on the Friday night before.
which I'm in favor of. If they want to do these double shows, I think that's better than doing what they did with
Yeah.
Century and One X, where they just ran a really long show,
Well, that way you have the
tired everyone
night
out.
out. You can go home, you can rest, recuperate, maybe wake up in the morning, get yourself over to the arena, get yourself a sausage and egg McMuffin, and then enjoy the morning of fights, right? But at least you've had that nice 8 hours sleep in between to refocus, recharge. Because
Mm.
let's be fair, when you're going from what was Century was it about 9 a.m. start and it finished at about 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it was a very long day.
Yeah, so it's a super long day, right? And you kind of stuck there all day. While I think And as well, Singapore's much smaller than Tokyo. It's going to be much easier to get back to your hotel, bit less traffic.
Yeah,
So, you know,
yeah. It's to be fair though, the crowd was still hot for the main event and the co-main at One X for the
yeah.
DJ and Angela fights. So they paced the show really well. I thought they didn't burn anyone out.
And
But yeah, I'm a fan of this personally, just splitting it over 2 days. And if that is true, then I'm really excited.
and then going forward, I guess TNT will, for the foreseeable future, be the home of one championship in the United States.
Yeah, I think it will be. It's good to see. Hopefully, they can get some momentum going. Yeah, because they had a lot of momentum, and then it's sort of dissipated a little bit since One X. I'm hoping they can get things going again. But Chris, why don't we talk about this main event then? We'll get into the card quickly. I don't have much time. I've got to go for a haircut. Then I've got to go to your house for a barbecue. Big things on a Saturday. So
That's
we're
it.
just squeezing it in today. But yeah, let's go. Tawanshai, let's say, absolutely smashing Nicholas Larson, didn't he, in the main event? Earned himself a bonus and a title shot.
Yeah, definitely. The title shot was already on the cards. We knew it was coming. I think this was just a big opportunity to get to Wanchai in the cage, get him back in front of the fans. You could just see the level and class. Absolute respect to Nicholas Larson. But you kind of got the idea that he felt a little bit happy to be there. Even when he lost to me, he was still very, very respectful for Tawanchai. So, yeah, he did have a little bit of that element where I think he gave him a little bit too much respect, but they both gave phenomenal performances. But let's be fair, going into this one, we only saw one winner. But Tawanchai for the belt, I think it's going to be something special. I think he might just have it, but you know what? It is so hard to say right now in this division because it's just on another level.
Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. Congratulations to Wanchai. He looked really good. And he's next big thing. A lot of buzz, a lot of hype around him. I remember George Hickman himself was telling us, I think, watch out for this guy a couple of years ago. And the
Yep.
prophecy is coming true. But anyway, for me, the real main event on this card, the people's main event, was Quan and Fabricio Andrade. One did a pretty good job of building this up as something, of a grudge match, some bad blood and feud, the nice video packages before the fight, and then they got into a bit of pushing and shoving at the weigh-ins. I was invested emotionally, which not always the case with one. They do the respect, the honor, that stuff, which is cool because it's martial arts values and all that, but doesn't sell you always on the fight, does it, Chris? So it was
No.
good hype coming into it.
Oh yeah, 100%. So much hype. Fabricio Andrade right now. I mean, he is just so hot. He's done everything he needs to since his debut. We got tipped off to him by some friends as well, connected to Tiger, and always tipping him. And he has done absolutely everything in this organization. He's an absolute beast. And then Quan, what he's done in the last ever since his debut, really, in one championship, he has just shocked and surprised me at every level. I kind of felt Quan might have had the opportunity tonight, but Jesus, oh Lord, man, Fabricio, he is just a savage, and he seems to be one of those fighters that actually improves as the level of competition he faces improves. So we're seeing him get better and better by every day.
Yeah, and he is young, isn't he? He's still, I think, 24, 23. I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah. I mean, this is a guy, right, who has such a huge future ahead. Like, he could be the guy who's looking at the records that Bibiano Fernandez has for like 9 title defenses. This is the kind of guy who's got the right age profile to kind of go after that.
Well, let's see. He's certainly got his head on his shoulders. I met him a couple of times in Bangtao, yes. Very nice guy. Very well deserved. Glad he got the bonus this time. I think we all knew he deserved a bonus for his last fight against Jeremy Pacquiao. So happy he got that. 50,000 baht. It's the cliche. It goes a long way, doesn't it, Chris, in Thailand?
Oh, 100,000. And it's not 50,000 baht, it's $50,000
Sorry,
that
yeah,
he will
$50,000
then
in baht.
convert into baht.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hell of a lot more than 50,000 baht.
I mean,
Yeah,
50,000 baht is good for a
yeah, yeah,
start.
yeah.
But $50,000,
He's gonna
yeah.
have a good time. He can probably use that man, and he can forward pay his training in Thailand probably for a year or two easily, and his
Yeah.
accommodation. So it's life changing. He is already professional, but you know, the more money you have, in a way, you can be more professional. Hopefully, enjoy some of that money, but hopefully, also invest a little bit. Send a little bit back to the family in Brazil, put a little bit to the side, and also invest some of it into better nutrition, better sports science, better recovery, stuff like that, right? Because he is 24, he probably recovers really fast, but trust me, once he starts getting to around 30, sometimes I feel like I can pull my back out just trying to put my socks on.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah.
I think he is in phenomenal shape, though. I've seen it up
Oh yeah.
close, but good point there. And I want to say congrats also. Well, not congrats, but I want to say thank you to Quan for taking that fight because he didn't have to. I think he was already established really as the number one contender. Lineker had agreed to fight him, and I don't know if one made him do it or whatever, but he took the fight and he sold the fight to us. And I found him really interesting in the build up. I did do the interviews for Media Day in absence of Andrew Whitelaw. I stepped up to the plate and did the virtual Media Day, and I enjoyed Quan's interview a lot.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy, but
where do you think both fighters go after this? Because obviously, to me, this is one of the best divisions right now in one championship. We have obviously after this, Andrade is going to go on to fight John Lineker, right?
he has
That
to.
is the
If they don't
given
do
move.
that, there is something wrong. Yeah, I
And
wouldn't. I'm
then,
not going to say I'm confident though, Chris, because they made a point to say it's not an official title eliminator. So I
okay.
could see some tomfoolery going on. And
What do you think we do with Quan though? Because there's the big question on my mind is you've got two guys out there who I think is perfect for him. One, Stephen Lohman,
yeah,
I
just
think
do
would be
that.
a great one. But
Yeah.
also I think Bibiano Fernandez.
If Bibiano wants to come back and fight, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. He's he still hasn't indicated what's going on. He took a bad knockout. I think,
Yeah,
the medical clearance. I don't know how long he's got to wait. And does he want to do it? Does he want to make another run at the title at the age of 41, whatever it is, 42?
yeah. My thing would
And
be this is the last chance Bibiano has. If he does come out and fights a Loman or a Kwon and he gets a victory, he can be right back in that rematch picture. That this is the closest he'll ever come to that. If he goes and drops a
yeah,
level or he loses next, I think that's it, right? Because I think at 41, if I was the promotion, I wouldn't want to put my eggs in that basket.
well, this is it. You've got the young, hungry lions now in that division. You've got Fabricio, Quan, and Loman
Yeah.
all knocking on the door. There's others as well. It's becoming one of one's most competitive divisions. So does Bibiano want to do that at his age? It's a tough decision to make. And will the outcome be any different if he does get to Lineker down the line? He'll be even older at the time when he gets there. It was a brutal loss. He did damage Lineker, though, in the
Yeah.
first round. We'll see. Those are questions. But I'm more worried, Chris, about Fabricio not getting the title shot next. I can just see them saying, you're going to have to beat Stephen Loman now or something. And
That's it.
they love the Filipinos in one.
100%.
They want to make the Filipino stars because they're probably heading back to Manila later this year.
Well,
Philippines has
that's the
just
one
opened up.
I always think is Stephen Loman could get the title shot if they really need someone to headline a card in the Philippines right now because, apart from Pacquiao, it's only really him and Pacquiao and Loman who are really left in the title picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how it unfolds. And I just hope for Fabricio that he doesn't get screwed out of this. He's earned it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we need to cover a few more fights. Can't stay too long, as I mentioned before, but what else, Chris, really
I think
piqued your interest? Reese McLaren.
I thought that was a fantastic performance. I thought that was absolute utter domination of Shea Way. Reese McLaren, he's just one of the good guys out there. Been in one championship so long. And right now he's putting together a really, really good run. And I think we could see him maybe challenge for the title again. He's really putting himself back in that box.
Yeah, he may have just made himself the next.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you've got Akhmetov as well in the mix. Kairat Akhmetov, he won as well. Wasn't the best
Yeah.
fight, was it?
It wasn't the best fight against Wilder. It was a little bit
Dominated
boring, a little bit
Hassan.
slow.
This is the danger with Akhmetov. Yeah, he's very dominant and he has a great record. I think 29-2 or something like that. And former one championship champion, and he's the only two losses he's had were to the champs, and one of them he already avenged. It's just Moraes. He's not beaten yet, but he doesn't get you excited, does he? Doesn't get you out of your chair. Would that let Reese McLaren slide in? Maybe.
That's it. I mean, look, if they did, both of them didn't take too much steroids, Reese and Akhmetov. I mean, look, there is a chance you could just put them against each other on the DJ versus Moraes card. Like that is a possibility, and then straight away in it, you match one up with the winner, and you match the other one up with the loser, right? Because Moraes and DJ now are both big names, and win or lose, you kind of have to capitalize on both of them.
I'm fine with that. Okay, there's some comments here. Good to see some people have missed
Hi,
us.
Henry.
Chris.
Hi, Alvin.
Yeah, I didn't realize we had fans. It's good to see. Terminator saying, "Where have you all been?" Exactly. My life's been in the dumps because of the lack of Chris's energy. Well, it's here. It's back. I am now back in Hong Kong, so they're going to hopefully have more video content like this. Now that I have a stable place of abode and I have good Wi-Fi. I have the best Wi-Fi I've ever had in Hong Kong, Chris. I've just made a huge investment into a smart tone 5G home hub.
Oh wow!
Which is giving me this crystal clear image you may be seeing. For once, I am no longer grainy and delayed for the first time in years. So the video content's going to be ramped up, and we are back. We're going to do some more podcasts. We're going to do more fight companions. Don't worry, we didn't do it last night because we had a lack of bodies, but there'll be big things to come. Trust me, I'm excited to get this going again. And PJ Mans, yes, we do it. SCMP covers MMA for about the last 3 years because of myself and this man Chris here. We've been pushing it forward, and of course JHK, who is no longer on the team really. Well, I'm hoping he can do some freelance stuff for us, but he's now working at the All Star. And yes, he is in Bangtao, Henry. He's been in Bangtao for months. He's prepping. He's going to do a fight. He's doing an amateur fight, so he's in training
Will it
as we speak.
be available on the internet, that amateur fight? Will it be streamed
Sorry,
live? Will they
oh,
stream
I
it?
don't know.
I think he'll record it, right?
He'll probably record it. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And anyway, let's just quickly rack through a quick few more. Guto
Yeah.
Innocente versus Radi Apacic. Pretty fun. Heavyweight kickboxing. Both of those guys looking pretty shredded for heavyweights. Fantastic liver punch. And then you had a pretty interesting one round between Adrian Moraes and Alex Silva. I thought Moraes looked really, really, really good on the feet, as quite a lot of people do against Silva. But the moment it went down to the ground, I just felt like Silva was going to get it done.
Yeah, he was very determined. Obviously, after the last fight ended, he thought it was an early stoppage, and he is former champion. He wanted to prove himself, and booked the rematch. I don't want to throw accusations of favoritism, but Alex Silva is very close with Chatri. He is the instructor at Evolve MMA, isn't he? And yeah, they are friends, and he did thank Chatri, and Chatri gave him the bonus. So, do you have any questions of? Oh, is that a little bit unethical, Chris? I don't know. I think.
I mean, the UFC do it. Is it unethical? Maybe a touch. Is it common practice in this sport? Yes. So, I don't know. I think you can criticize it, but I'll criticize Bellator, UFC, and PFL for doing similar things, right? Kyle Harrison always gets a bonus over in PFL, etc., etc. They all have their favorites. The UFC have their company men. Sometimes that's just the way life is, right?
He deserved it, and he did prove people wrong. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. It is like the one thing I would like to kind of see is like Evolve and one kind of separate. I'd rather like actually maybe keep control of Evolve, but give up like all voting, all power he has there. Personally, I don't think he can do both. It's kind of a conflict of interest in a way.
Yeah, that's what people say. So just had to bring it up because I want to be honest. We like to be straight here, don't we? Straight shooters. But
I'd rather see Evolve become more of an open gym, similar to the PI.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, that would be it.
But,
and then we had Mangat versus Yokai Core Fairtex. What did you think of this decision, Nick?
Yeah, I thought it was the right decision.
Yeah,
I was surprised one judge gave it to Y2K. To be honest, but it wasn't the most thrilling fight again for me.
I had the problem with all three split decisions. I actually think they got all three wrong.
So you thought Y2K won this?
Oh no! Sorry, the other two split decisions I thought were the other way around. Sorry, I thought the Didier and Meza Barbara. I thought this one was the right decision.
Yeah. I think the right decision. But Y2K did rock Gary in that third round, and I think he looked a little out of it in his promo at the end. He kind of didn't know what he was saying. He was kind of stumbling over his words a lot.
To me, was this kind of fight of the night? I thought this was maybe fight of the night.
In a not very large pool of exciting fights, maybe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed more the main event than this. I know it was sort of one-sided, but Larson went for it, didn't he? And he was, he was right from the first bell. He was just swinging, just getting in the pocket, which was a bit stupid. But not weird promo from Gary afterwards, and then weird promo from Reese. I thought after a little bit as well.
That's it. Well, we've criticized the promoter, we've criticized the judges. I was going to say, do you want to talk about Buchecha so we can criticize the referees? Do you think this was an early stoppage?
I don't think that guy would protest, Simon Carson.
Yeah.
I think what would have happened is he had a deal. No, this is just me speculating, but I think he only took the fight, right? Because look at his record. He's 2-1. He's 42 years old. Hasn't fought in 3 years. He knew, look, I'm going to lose this fight, but I won't take any brain damage, right? I'm just going to get choked out, get subbed. And I think the referee knew this. or
Yeah.
whoever knew this. And as soon as they saw him taking shots to the head, and look, Buchecha had him trapped. There's no way out. He couldn't move. Why prolong it? His corner threw in the towel. So I don't think it's early stoppage in any way. I'm happy with it. Perfect. And Buchecha, scarily now, has looked like he got a bit of striking to him as well, which is not
Yeah.
what his rivals will want to see
Yeah,
in the
because Simon
heavyweight division.
Carlson is a good striker. I've seen him fight before. I
He
saw
is,
him
yeah.
fight Shannon Rich in the fabled Battlefield 2 in Macau that was headlined by Gleason Tebow versus Will Brooks. Has anyone been paid? We'll never know.
That's the
Um,
one, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was a bit of an odd fight. It was clearly a mismatch, right? Because Buchecha is something else. But to me, I just thought it was a little bit of an early stoppage, really. We have seen much people take a lot more damage than that, right?
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it though. If the corners are in a towel, especially, it's fine by me. And he wasn't going to beat Buchecha, so let's just may as well.
But do you think the
But
referee should be saving him, or do you think he should just have it about himself to tap?
no one's going to tap strikes, apart
Yeah,
from certain.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but all he had to do was turn around and show him his back, right? And Buchecha would have rear naked choked him. I don't know. To me, yeah, it wasn't
but
it
maybe
wasn't a great
Buchecha wanted
performance.
to. Maybe he wanted to show, oh, I've got some striking now. 'Cause
Yeah.
he'd been in Phuket Fight Club training, working on that stand-up game. So because he was stuck in Singapore for a while, wasn't he? And they just needed an opponent for him. And yeah, fair play to Simon Carson for stepping up and doing it. But I want to see Buchecha now against some real competition in one.
Mm.
They need to throw him. It's weird. He went from Kang, who was number one contender, pretty much, to uh, who after that this now. Yeah, it's they've got to find him someone who can then be a title eliminator. Maybe Odie Delaney, who also impressed me on this card. He's now got two subs in one championship, and I think that is a future title fight in one championship at heavyweight.
Yeah, 100%.
Buchecha and Delaney. Um,
Yeah. He is a great signing for one championship, man. Like every so often they just come along with these absolutely great signings from the States. And I think he's just the definition.
Yeah, and he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Been through a lot of stuff. His story is well documented, but if you haven't seen it, go check it out. He was a first responder at the Charleston, I think it was, church shooting, something like that. One of the, I mean, it's sad to say, but there's so many damn mass shootings in America now. I lose track of which is the one, and I think it was that though. And he was a first responder, and he had PTSD from it for years, and he's an advocate now for mental health and things like that. So an enjoyable interview with him I had before. Anyway, yeah, as Dylan Bowker says, Buchecha versus Grashenko or Johnson. I'm down for either of those.
Yeah, 100%. I'd probably be a bit more tempted to see him go against Grushenko. But either way, I think they're fantastic fights.
Okay, a few. I'll try and get some comments quickly, and then we can just finish off with any other fights we want to talk about. Peter, welcome back, Peter. I think you were a new fan of the show last time, so thanks for coming back. Will Adriano Moraes beat Mighty Mouse again? Like Mighty Mouse had nothing for Adriano. Yeah, I'm a little bit.
Can
I
I
don't know
say
about this.
one
Yeah,
thing? Did you that video package, man? They showed that knee like 12 times in a row, like on
yeah.
repeat. I watched that. I was like, wow, they're really hammering this home, right?
Mm,
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I think Mighty Mouse is kind of like in a bit of a tweener where he's kind of caught in between two divisions because of one championship's hydration protocol. He seems to be a lot smaller than everyone he fights in flight in a division. But then if you look at the division below this men's strawweight, he's a lot bigger than all of them. So and Adriano Moraes is just built differently, right? Because he's got to be the biggest flyweight in the world.
yeah, I think DJ will. I don't think he's going to get caught the way he did last time, but I think Moraes is probably going to get a decision. But DJ did look rejuvenated in that weird fight with Rodtang. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird one to put this on the first card for Prime Video because you're risking sacrificing DJ on the altar, aren't you, for
Yeah.
the Prime Video
DJ
gods?
said he walks around at about 150, right? 155?
Something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that, yeah. Yeah, and it's like sometimes I just look at my master, I'm like, what do you think he walks around at? 170? 180?
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. He sort of trains with the some of the welterweights, doesn't he? At ATT, I think,
Yeah.
or lightweight. Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, some other comments quickly. Would Horizon become legitimate if Chatri took over? I mean, Chris has
Probably more
advocated for
legitimate.
Ryzen one buying Ryzen, haven't you?
Yeah, man. People do, I mean, you do look at the news in Japan, you look how all this stuff about Ryzen, it's kind of been front page news or back page leading the sports over there, the match. They do have a huge base. And I mean, we're not really that big in Japan or really Korea or really China, i.e., the richest countries in Asia, or the ones with the most people. So a lot of fans. And it's kind of like if you break into those markets, they put you on such a sound financial footing.
All right. Try and get in these comments. Will JHK lose since he's 40 and an amateur? Well, it's so special about Bang Tao that can help him. No big names trading there. Well, yeah, JHK's an amateur, but I think they're matching him up with someone who's of similar experience.
Yes, he's not gonna
What?
fight,
Yeah, it's not going to
one of
be.
the Hickermans or some professional guy
Yeah,
or some 23-year-old with 10 amateur fights. I think it's probably gonna be someone. I'd be surprised if they match him up against someone who's had more than 3 or 4 amateur fights.
yeah, and what's so special about Bang Tao that can help him? The coaches are very special indeed. Let's to be honest, Chris, they revolutionized Chalong, didn't they? Soy Street.
Yeah.
I think Tiger really turned that into what it is now, and they were the ones who changed the game at Tiger Muay Thai. They were the ones that brought these big names in and developed them. Guys like Volkanovski, Valentina, Peter Yan, Rafael Fiziev.
It's
The
probably the
list goes
best
on.
place to learn to wrestle in Asia.
Yes,
Or
they.
Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, I'll say that. Japan and Korea have some fantastic wrestlers, actually. But I will say, yeah, particularly as well, wrestling for mixed martial arts, probably the best place in Southeast Asia, without a doubt.
Yeah, Frank and George brought that in, and it's not just them. There's other coaches like Alex Shield, who was also at Tiger, and Woody, the strength and conditioning coach. Alex
And
was
let's be
BJJ coach.
fair, they're not just successful in the UFC, in one championship, but they're successful in PFL, they're successful in Bellator. They have a wide range of fighters who are successful in a wide range of weight classes and in a wide range of organizations. And that's the true mark of a coach, because get some very good coaches out there who focus on very small weight divisions or a very small roster fighter, but these guys are proven successes, and they've been successes for about 10 years now, 12 years, and that's
Yeah,
the true lasting legacy.
proof is in the pudding. Just
Yeah.
look at how many they've got champions on their roster, and no big names training at Bangzhou. That's not true. They've got Jiang Wei Li's doing her camp there for
Yeah.
the UFC 275 rematch with
Volkanovski's
Joanna.
trained there, Adesanya's trained there.
Volkanovski, Yuri Prohaska's doing his camp there right now for UFC 275.
Joanna's trained there in the past, Shevchenko, Fiziev, Peter Yana's trained there in the past, right? So,
Tai Tuivasa is there right now.
yeah.
He's fighting Cyril Gane.
I don't know if you guys can hear Nick. He has kind of disappeared from my feed. Dylan Bowker said he is advocating JHK versus the Schmo. That would be very interesting, actually. Probably very similar body types, because a lot of people don't realize John is a big, tall guy, and so is the Schmo. I would probably favor the Schmo in that matchup, just because he is a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. And whenever I've seen him about with other fighters, he seems to have.
Wi-Fi wasn't there, and it's
Yeah.
gone out. Yeah, I was saying, I hear that Israel Adesanya may be heading to Bangtao at some point as well.
I was
So
just doing
some big
Dylan
names.
Bowker on JHK versus the Smo. I said I'd probably favor the Smo. He's a little bit younger, maybe a little bit bigger, but I think it'd be a very good fight if we were going to have a journalist v journalist fight.
Yeah, and
if I wanted a journalist v journalist fight, I'd want Michael Owens versus Dylan Bowker.
Well, Michael is trained. He's fought in Muay Thai, hasn't he?
Oh
I
yeah,
think. Yeah. So, and he's deceptively tall.
he's the
I
second
wouldn't mind.
most dangerous man in Newcastle. I heard.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
Behind Alan Shearer, or
yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
all right. Anyone else we need to talk about? Um, Jack Slack says refs in one are very corrupt. Do you agree to stand up Ongla when he gets taken down? That happened in Yangon, in front of a very partisan crowd, and I think he may have got the rub there. Yeah, but they haven't stood Ongla up in his last few fights, and I bet he wished they did. He struggled on the ground against Renier de Ridder and Vitaly Bigdash.
I don't think the referees are very corrupt. I'd rather them have a bigger pool of referees. I'd like to see what they did in Japan, where every organization agreed to give up all their referees and share them and put them in an independent organization. I thought that was a good move they did over in Japan. I'd like to see one championship do something like that. The problem is they're based in Singapore, and it's not like Singapore has loads of organizations doing shows there. So it's not like there's like with the UFC there's some guys go PFL, then UFC, then Bellator, and in Europe you can be doing UFC and then Cage Warriors, and then you're over at France doing Aries and KSW in Poland, and there's not really a lot of availability to do that in Singapore.
Agreed. Okay, Alvin here being positive as always. Thank you, Alvin. Go follow Alvin if you haven't. Beyond Kickboxing, what's up, my boys over there at Beyond Kick? Go check them out on socials, Instagram, Twitter. Any clue why events have been behind closed doors since 1X? Yeah, I'm not sure I can really say it. I, it can only be financial. I think
Yeah.
it can only be for financial reasons. Because why wouldn't you? Yeah, there's nothing holding them back from government perspective.
And people always have to remember one championship, even though they're Singapore based, it's not like the UFC in the early days or even now where they can hold half their events, three-quarters of their events in the US and sell out. Singapore's a small market, it's a small place, it's a city state, right? So there's only so many shows they can do and have really, really good ticket sales, right? Because in the good times, before the pandemic, there was maybe 2 shows, 3 shows a year in Singapore max, and then a few in Manila, a few in KL, 1 or 2 in Bangkok, 1 or 2 in China. It was very, very much Pan Asian, right?
Yep.
I don't think in their whole history they've had this many shows in Singapore in a year, right?
No, I think it's really pressing now that they need to move out of there for a while and do some shows on the road, especially if they're not going to have fans. It's just it
I
looks
have friends
bad.
I have friends in Singapore who are MMA fans, and they're like, they don't want to go to any of the next shows until the DJ one. They went to 1X and they're like, that's enough for me to go to. They're going to UFC 275 this weekend. It's expensive, right? It's not cheap. And there's only so
Yeah.
much free time.
Well, here you go. Why is the UFC going to Singapore? Asked Richard. I don't understand. It helps no one. UFC should be helping Valentina and Joanna as much. It's simple. It's money, Richard. It's
Yeah.
they've been paid to do it by the Singapore Tourism Board. They're getting a fat check for it. They are looking to get into the market in Asia. Obviously, they can't go to China. They want to go to China, but they can't at the moment. This is the next best thing for them, and it's right in One Championship's backyard as well. I'm sure they're enjoying just going and doing that. It's a big fu, I think, to one,
You do
which
you do have to remember, Richard, that having an event in Singapore, you're putting yourself in China's time zone, Japan, Korea, very close to India. You're getting all of Southeast Asia as well as Australasia, Australia, and New Zealand. So you're tapping into these other markets, right? And these are also like future growth markets, because it's like you do look at the UFC in the UK and America, and they can still grow, yeah, but they can't grow that much. But the UFC can grow so much bigger in China, so much bigger in India, so much bigger in Thailand, right?
100%.
That's
And
where the growth is. And I mean, people need to remember half the world's population live within a 4-hour flight of Singapore.
yep, I certainly am within a 4-hour flight as well.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can go there. Ideally, quarantine will be scrapped, so I won't have to sit in a hotel for a week again. I just got out of quarantine, everyone, so I'm
We'll
happy to be
wrap
back.
this up as you have to go very quickly to the hairdresser, and we'll answer this one question.
Yeah,
Why did one choose Prime Video? Seems like a niche one. I think Prime is actually the fantastic best place.
I think it is good. It's a big name.
It's
It's not
international.
on. Yeah, it's not going to be on network TV, so you're not going to have the scrutiny of the numbers. They'll be able to sort of put out their own stats, which I know they like to do. You're not going to be in a public ratings war, are you? So it's good. It's a nice name. It gives them a bit of buzz. A lot of people have it. It's got a big subscriber base. Anyway, yeah, Chris is right. I do have to go get a haircut and a beard trim. Yeah, so I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back maybe I know, yeah, we got 7 weeks to fill without a show. So maybe we can do some midweek podcasts again. Maybe do a UFC 275 recap, I think.
100%. Everything's going to get rolling again. We're going to be back on it, guys. The gruesome twosome are reunited in Hong Kong. So we'll be giving you some of that UFC, that one championship love. And you know what? Part 2 of the PFL season's coming. So we might touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, why not? I'm reinvigorated, especially with my Wi-Fi here. Smart tone. It did dip out briefly there, but
Okay.
it's back up and running. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next time. Yeah.